marked safe from the Facebook shutdown. It's the WMAY morning news feed. I'm Greg Bishop. I want to hear from you now. What did you do during the Facebook downage from yesterday? 217-629-7970, 812. It is the WMAY morning news feed. I'm Greg Bishop. You can follow me on Facebook. Just search out Bishop on Air. You can also find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube even. But best way to connect with me is by email, bishoponair@gmail.com. So what happened yesterday with Facebook? Did you even notice it? Me being in media, obviously Facebook is a way for me to get sourcing. For instance, if the governor holds a live event in Chicago, he's streaming it on Facebook, so I'll just watch it there. Or if like the mayor of Chicago is having an event or something in Congress is going on, it's just a quick, easy way to grab some content and to hear the voices of newsmakers. But it's also a way to communicate with some of you out there and to share our stories and so on. So as a member of the media, I definitely noticed right away that Facebook was down. Got to my home office, sitting there ready to do some story writing, and all my internet seemed to have a little bit of a hiccup. And I didn't know if it was just that time of day, because typically around, like the 10 o'clock hour, for whatever reason, I'm in more of a rural area, and our internet seems to just kind of blip a little bit. But I thought that's what it was. While my email was working and some other websites were working just fine, Facebook was not. Instantly, I recognized something was off because there was an error message that came up with a Facebook color and had Facebook's, copyright image on it. But then eventually, within an hour, that was even gone. And you refresh Facebook, and it was just a blank white page saying that, DNS error, or it just was not working or connecting. And, and I thought to myself, well, let's see what's going on, and found that there was obviously an outage, and it wasn't just with Facebook. It was with Instagram. It was with WhatsApp. And there were outage detections, a website that I use quite a bit to see if there are reports of website outages, is downdetector.com. It's a great website. You can go there and kind of look at the historical time chart of websites that are hit with denial services or are just down. And Facebook was obviously the top one on the list, with just hundreds of thousands of down detection notifications through their website, downdetection.com. But it wasn't Facebook. It was also Instagram, and you had WhatsApp. But I also saw downage detection for AT&T, for T-Mobile websites, for Verizon websites. Amazon Web Services also had some downage detection. And a bunch of TikTok. Pokemon Go. Did you realize that's still a thing? Apparently it is, because they had a huge downage yesterday as well. So there were tons of websites that were hit with something, but Facebook's telling us that, it wasn't a hack. It was something internal. Here's some of the language they used in their statement they released. Our engineer teams have learned that configuration changes of the backbone routers that coordinate network traffic between our data centers caused issues that interrupted this communication. The disruption to the network traffic had a cascading effect on the way our data centers communicate, bringing our services to a halt. Our services are now back online, Facebook said, and we're actively working to fully return them to regular operations. We want to make clear at this time that we believe the root cause of this outage was a faulty configuration change. So the website was down for close to 8 hours. You think it's a coincidence that happened after a Facebook whistleblower came out to talk to 60 Minutes about how Facebook knows that Instagram is damaging to young girls in their image? Also that Facebook knows that there's a lot of negative content that they promote and allow for. And a variety of other things that this whistleblower raised. And just some of the highlights here. Facebook's algorithm intentionally shows users things to make them angry. Facebook dissolved its civil integrity unit. Europe had to start running negative ads to get any engagement on Facebook, and Facebook only identifies 3 to 5% of hate and less than 1% of violence and incitement on its platform, and a whole bunch of other things, including making a ton of money off of you, the free user. But it's really not free. You're paying as being commodity for Facebook. So what do you think? What was behind this? It wasn't just the Facebook whistleblower that came out on 60 Minutes, and then within 12 to 24 hours, Facebook has a downage. Some are saying that it could be them cooking the books behind there. Some believe that that's the case, that they were changing their algorithms so that they're not going to be held liable if there is a deep investigation. But you also have the release of the Pandora Papers. If you're not familiar with that, it's a large data dump of where a lot of the billionaires from around the world are storing their money. So some of these things seem to be a little bit of a coincidence, but maybe not. Who knows? Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Could it be the Russians?
Facebook's not saying it was anything external. Who knows? I mean, even Russia couldn't access their own Facebook page.
I don't know. I didn't even notice that Facebook was down until about 4 or 5 hours later. I mean, because I don't really use it that much, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not a tech guy, but I don't think it really matters. I really don't.
You were still able to make cell phone calls. You were still able to check your email. You were still able to turn on the TV or the radio in particular. You were able to hear the radio news, no problem. Facebook.
I can still do financial on my phone, which I don't like to do, but I do anyway from time to time. I mean, the things I need to survive, I can do. I mean, the outage didn't affect me in one way, shape, or form, so I really care less. I mean, to be honest, I don't really pay attention to Facebook that much. I really don't.
Well, it's probably good. Yeah, there was something deep down in me, Tim, where I was like, I hope this thing's off forever. I really, I'm not gonna lie.
It would not bother me, Greg, in the slightest if it was. I just, I look at it as if you want to get a hold of me, you either call me or come see me. This Facebook stuff, getting a hold of somebody, the only time I ever use it is if I get pictures from about my grandkids, and that's it.
Well, hey, Tim, I do see you comment on some stuff from time to time.
Well, yeah, I do comment on things, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Only if somebody, calls us, hey, look and see what's on there, and then I might. As you noticed here lately, I haven't really commented a whole lot.
Well, and that's fine. I mean, everybody has their own, tendency to comment on stuff. But Facebook, it was one of those things where it really didn't hinder my ability to communicate with anybody because, I have different channels I communicate with people. But it is something that a lot of people actually, they make money off of the content they have on Facebook. And if it's down for 8 hours, prime time for people at work trying to waste time on Facebook, then they're not going to be able to get that revenue. So there were some serious implications for people who derive a lot of their business from Facebook interactions. So that definitely had an impact. But what about you? 217-629-7970. What do you think happened here? Was it just a mere coincidence that Facebook goes down for 8 hours after a whistleblower comes out to talk about how Facebook knows certain things are bad for society, but continue on with them? What about all the other outages that happened? As I said, I saw some reporting that Amazon Web Services, one of the largest one of the largest server farms holding all kinds of content online, they were detecting some kind of downage at downdetector.com. But you also had Verizon websites, AT&T websites, T-Mobile websites, and even Gmail from a certain point. And they all seem to spike with downages at the same time. So kind of fascinating to see all that play out. I would love to hear from you. What do you think happened with the Facebook down yesterday? Was it just a mere coincidence, or is it really what they're telling us about, having some kind of internal thing? Or could it have been, and I even saw this suggested on Twitter because Twitter was rocking yesterday. They probably had the highest amount of internet traffic in quite some time. But Twitter ultimately, I saw some people commenting that it could have been sabotage from inside. They had a whistleblower come out exposing some things that aren't too favorable for Facebook. What if somebody left on the inside was doing some trickery. Will we ever know about any of that? It's a great question. 217-629-7970 is the phone number. Again, 217-629-7970 is the phone number. Let me see here. Got a somebody messaged and said Q. And then they said that was me trying to be funny. Appreciate that. But you can sound off 217-629-7970. Are you glad it's back, or were you kind of like me deep down thinking, just, you know what, it's fine. Let's not do this Facebook thing anymore. It's okay. We can break up with Facebook. It's not the end of the world. However, I do think probably gave some people a little taste of what could possibly happen if a communication network goes down. And think about what it would be like if you couldn't use your cell phone for a day or 3 days or a week. How would you communicate? What would you ultimately do with your time? Would you hunker down and maybe, I don't know, I'm glad I got my ham radio license. I could then put up an antenna and try to communicate with people because that's decentralized. But what do you think happened here? 217-629-7970. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Good morning, sir. So the really fun one that, I want to basically believe, but totally know that it's probably not true at all, is the one that you just said from your listener, Q. I mean, that one would be amazing. Not going to lie. And all the Anons that would just, party off of that would be absolutely hilarious. I mean, because he has been posting a bunch of random crap about Zuckerberg. So, but like I said, it would be absolutely funny if Q were true, and that's what will happen. But actually, to go off of what you were saying a little bit ago, if any type of like EMP or blackout or, complete blackout were to happen, I mean, everybody would be up a creek. And then all of a sudden, all those preppers would just be sitting on cloud nine finally saying, okay, all these tens of thousands of dollars that I've invested is now, my time has finally come and everything like that. But actually, on Fox 911, the show, they've actually the beginning of this season that they just aired, the first 2 episodes were about the blackout and hackers coming in demanding things, and they basically shut the entire city down.
Yeah, I mean, if you shut down communication, you're in for a bad spot. And I think they had some problems with the recent hurricane down in Louisiana with emergency communications even that were supposed to be set up but apparently failed, and that's no good. But yeah, communication's essential. And listen, it's not just you being able to call your mom up on the cell phone. If we have a communication blackout, you're talking about, even credit card transactions that might not be able to go through. So how are you going to access online banking? How are you going to, be able to pay at the pump to get gas? If the communication network's down, then that causes some really, really tough situations. So maybe yesterday was just a small little taste of what could possibly happen if the communication network goes down en masse. Good morning. You're on WMAY. No, hold on a second. Hold on. Let me turn you back. Okay, you're turned up. Go ahead.
Okay. My theory for this morning is that it was a rolling blackout of data because of overusage. The system just got tired and needed to take a break. Because I can tell you, man, I took a break from Facebook for a couple of weeks and it didn't bother me at all.
Right. Yep.
Absolutely. And I had my cell phone off all day yesterday and my watch off all day yesterday. And it was great. Good for the soul.
You kick back and we're just like, yes, this is what life is about. Breathe in, breathe out. Look at the pretty colors in the trees. There's chickens walking outside the radio station here. This is life.
This is the way we all need to take it for a day or two.
I think relax. Yeah. Just what the doctor ordered.
There you go, buddy.
Appreciate the call. 217-629-7970 is the phone number. Email coming in. The outcome is that people were probably more productive at work. That's probably right. It is the WMAY morning news feed and Facebook outage impacting Billions of users across the globe. Pretty fascinating. All right, we'll of course have more on that as we find out more. We'll hear about the Facebook whistleblower in front of Congress today. And then also, I believe that same whistleblower is going to be heading over to the UK to testify as well. We'll see what ultimately comes out of it. But I do hear some people concerned that the whistleblower is coming out with things that could actually lead to more censorship on the internet because she's raising questions about, well, Facebook allows for hateful content. And that could be an impetus for even more censorship. So who knows where this is ultimately going to go. All right, it is the WMAY morning news feed. I'm Greg Bishop.